Unconventionals. This is our February 2022 Q&A video.
All right, let's dive right in. Amelia, can you comment on the political situation in Ecuador, I'm assuming? Is the government fairly stable?
We think so. We've lived here for 4 years now. We're on our second president during our time frame of living in Ecuador, and things have remained relatively calm. We have seen some protests, but that is part of the Ecuadorian culture, and it seems to be managed reasonably and fairly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've been here almost, I'll bet, 4.5 years now. And we definitely feel like the government is pretty stable here. We were a little worried with the new president and the election last year, but it's gone pretty well. And that both of the presidents, the previous one and the current one, seem to compromise with people who are protesting and demanding change and different things. They seem to work together, respect each other. There has not been an attempt to overthrow the government since we've lived here, which we appreciate. So I would say that that's one thing we're not worried about here is the political situation, at least not right now. Hopefully that doesn't change.
Yes.
All right, the next question. Are there organizations that expats can work with to adopt a family in Ecuador and provide some monthly financial support?
So I don't know if there's an organization where you can specifically adopt a family. However, there are a lot of charitable organizations that will provide to people in need. I can think of two in Cuenca, Hearts of Gold and Hogar de Esperanza, which are very popular. And I know that they work with children and families. So I'm sure there are some opportunities available.
Yeah, and there's an orphanage in the Olón Montanita area that accepts support as well. So you can help support the orphans in the area. And there are a lot of organizations throughout Ecuador.
Yes, there are.
But as far as like what you see advertised on television, the adopt a family kind of thing, we have not seen that here.
No.
I am a single woman who has her heart set on moving to Ecuador. I would like to hear your comments on these safety issues.
Well, as a not single woman, but as a woman who has walked solo, I have never felt unsafe here in Ecuador. And we have several friends, female friends, that have lived here as a single person for, a long time, over 10 years. And they have told us that they've always felt safe. You know, you just got to take the same precautions that you would anywhere in the world. So when I used to walk in Cuenca to my dance classes, I walked on the main roads. I didn't walk along the Tomebamba, and I wouldn't walk at nighttime by myself. I mean, I've gone out after dark, but I wouldn't walk a 30-minute walk through town by myself.
Yeah.
I used to walk home from Jungle Gym, though, at like 7 o'clock at night. But that's 7 o'clock at night. I wouldn't do that at midnight or 2 a.m., but I wouldn't do that anywhere.
Yeah, we generally go out at night with each other in our couple, our duo.
Yes.
The dynamic duo. But,
nice.
But yeah, Ecuador overall is safe where the expats live. You're not going to have a lot of issues as long as you stay in the bigger cities and the more populated areas, the more affluent areas. If it's more dangerous in the lower income areas in the big cities like Guayaquil and Quito, and especially at night. So just take common sense precautions, safety precautions like you would in any big city or any place in the world, and just pay attention to your surroundings at all times.
Yeah, we have heard that there has been some increase in pickpocketing and just some burglaries, people getting their purses stolen. So I have a crossbody bag that I use, or I just use like a tote bag, and I just try to dress normally. I don't wear a lot of fancy jewelry or diamonds, although we have friends that do. So
yeah, I just saw a video of somebody from Ecuador saying that you shouldn't walk down the street talking on your phone. We see that all the time. I guess it depends on where you are. If you're like at a soccer game, or if you're in like the Mercado area or the central part of town, or there are areas where we wouldn't do that, but we're out filming. We have our cameras out all the time filming for our videos. We don't feel unsafe. Everybody's walking down the street. They'll run into you. Everybody. They'll talk you on their phone. They don't even pay attention. They walk right into you, and everybody's doing it. So, but again, like if you're in a bad part of town or in a really busy part of town where there's a lot of people, I would not do that.
Yeah, and there are some scams in play, so you just have to be aware of that too. Like if somebody comes up to you and tells you they have something on you and they offer to help you, they may have actually put something on you to get you to take off your backpack or your purse, and then they'll snag it. Be careful if you are walking around with your purse open, because we've heard this for years that even little kids will be trained to like go and pickpocket. Yeah. But again, this happens all over the place. And
don't hand your bags to anyone who offers to help you, like on the bus or at a cafe or anything. Don't trust anyone you don't know. So apply these same rules anywhere you go.
But yeah,
I got robbed in the United States. There was several $1,000s worth of electronics equipment stolen out of a rental car, and it was my own fault for leaving it in there. But I was in a really nice part of San Francisco and didn't think anything of it, and that was my mistake. So, but it can happen anywhere, I guess is my point. All right, next question. Is TRICARE allowed as private health insurance for cedula requirements?
So I'm not sure. I did look up TRICARE, and it says they have an office in Quito. So you could call your insurance agent there in the U.S. and ask them about it. And then I would also recommend checking with a visa agent here in Ecuador, because you do need to have private insurance that
works in Ecuador.
Right.
And if it works here, it may work for your cedula, but it may not. And it also may depend on who you speak to when you go to the government office to get your cedula. They may be like, oh, sorry, that's not acceptable. And the one next to him may have said it was acceptable.
Right. However, since they do have an office in Quito, it might work.
Mm-hmm. Next question. I heard a 100% disabled person gets tax exemptions when buying a car in Ecuador. I am a vet, 100% disability rated. How could I get the disability status in Ecuador? First off, thank you for your service.
Yes.
And second, Amelia, take it away.
Okay, so I asked Carlos about this, and he said, I'm just going to read this. You need to register with CONADIS. This is the government office that controls the Ecuadorian system for disabled persons. And we have a link that we will share. I poked around on that website. I could not find the specifics on the type of discounts that you can get. So I think you're really going to need a facilitator to help you with this, unless you were fluent in Spanish. Mm-hmm. But the answer is yes. And you can also still qualify for the ISS insurance if you want to go that route here as well, which is the public health insurance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it might be best to speak with one of the insurance brokers that we recommend. Mm-hmm. We'll put a link below for that referral form.
Just to get some more information.
Yeah, we'll send an introduction email to both of our insurance agents. Next question. I will be flying into Guayaquil. We always say that wrong. Guayaquil. I love it the way the Ecuadorians say it. It's so beautiful. We just butcher it. So I'll be flying into Guayaquil in late April. My flight does not arrive until 1 a.m. Is it safe to stay in the airport until 5 a.m. so I can catch the early morning bus to Santa Elena?
Yes, the airport is safe. It's actually a very nice airport. It's pretty small, and I don't think anything will be open, but you can definitely stay there. They have nice security. Mm-hmm. You may not be as comfortable, but
it's a nice airport.
It is nice.
Yeah, it's newer. Mm-hmm. So next question. My impression is that Manta has a range of good medical facilities. I'm wondering if that is also the case in Salinas.
Well, we're not the best people to ask about this because we rarely go to the doctor. However, I do know that both Manta and Salinas have a pretty wide range of services available. In Salinas, it's technically in La Libertad, which is just
10 minutes away.
Yeah, the next town over. And I know they have they have Solca over there, which is a big facility that also does a lot of cancer treatments. Most people that we knew when we were living in alone would go into La Libertad for medical. But a lot of people that we know still choose to go to Cuenca for the anything major if they need to see a specialist, because Cuenca is known to have some of the best health care and also the most affordable health care.
Yep. A lot of people go to Guayaquil too.
Yeah. But we also talked to several people in Manta who had back work done, and they were really happy. So I think the answer is yes. Both places have nice services available. Manta has a lot of newer facilities, so they have a newer IESS hospital there, and they're building that private facility. So I guess if you want newer, Manta would probably be the way to go.
Yep. All right, next question. What is the cost for full dental implants, upper and lower?
So I asked if I could get a range or a quote, and I haven't heard back yet. However, we do know that in general, dental care here runs about 1/3 the cost of the United States. We talked to a guy in Cuenca who told us that he was quoted $40,000 for his dental implants, and it cost him $10,000 here. And I think that included his trip, didn't it, JP? Or was that an
just,
addition?
that was an addition. But I mean, he had $30,000 left over. It was a really nice trip.
Yeah, I think he came for like a month or two. He planned a whole vacation around his dental work. Yeah,
dental tourism is popular here because they have really good dentists and it's really affordable compared to the U.S. So my crown that I got was 1/3 the cost of the same crown that my mom got at the same time in the United States. So that gives you an idea. It's about 1/3. Are there any four-wheel drive off-road vehicles sold in Ecuador not commonly found in the USA?
There are. So there is a company called Mahindra that is available here, and theirs look really cool. We just saw a really cool looking Land Rover utilitarian vehicle that I've never seen in the U.S. I know you can buy a Land Rover in the U.S. but
it looks like a safari vehicle, like a safari really truck with big cleated tires and like a roll bar thing. It was cool looking.
Yeah, I bet you it's expensive. Yeah. It looked really neat. And then there's Chinese companies. So there's Havel, there's that Great Wall. Peugeot has some cars here, and it says that they do some off-roading stuff as well. So you have a lot of options. Mm-hmm. Also, we've seen some American brands that may have some different options here than they do in the United States. So there's a nice variety to choose from. Remember, we saw that really cool Jeep Wrangler.
Oh, yeah.
And that thing was robust.
Yeah, and there are also some older cars, too. We've seen like old Jeeps, old Land Cruisers, and different things from like the 60s, 70s, and 80s that are still in mint condition because there's no snow and salt on the roads here, so they don't rust. Ford and Chevy are, like, I think, the most popular brands here, and they have a bunch of those options, too. I know you were mostly interested in things not found in the U.S., but all of those are here, as well as Kia. What are the other ones? Gosh, we see.
Well, there's Hyundai, Kia, Volkswagen, Audi, Mercedes. I mean, there's that Cherry, which I never heard of until we moved here. Jack, J-A-C.
J-A-K.
J-A-C. There's a lot.
Yeah.
And then you got all the really cute little mopeds, which I've been eyeing.
Four-wheel drive?
No.
We've even seen dune buggies here and like four-wheel off-road ATV.
ATV, not AV. That's audio-visual.
All right, next question.
Sorry.
We digress.
Yes.
What's your take on the reasons behind the big increase in the minimum income requirement for the pensioner's visa? So we just shared a visa update video because Ecuador just overhauled their visa laws again, and they did change the minimum income requirements for several of the visas. And now it is 3 times what it used to be. Well, more than that. But last year it was $400 per month was the minimum income requirement. This year it started out at $425 because it maps to the monthly minimum wage. And now it's $1,275 per month plus $250 per dependent. And as for why that is,
we do not know. And we asked Maite, and she said she did not know. I don't know where the $1,275 came from. I know that number has been kicking around for a while when they've been contemplating this new telework visa or their digital nomad visa. So I'm assuming they just use the same number for that visa for the pensioner visa. But I don't know because a few years ago, or maybe 6 or 7 years ago, the requirement was $800. It was $800 for us when we applied for our visa.
Plus $100 per dependent.
Right. So it was $800 for JP and $100 for me for the dependent. So I guess. And
then it was $400 and nothing else for the dependent. But it's 3 times the monthly minimum wage.
Yes.
And expats are part of Ecuador's growth plan, their economic plan. They want more expats here spending money. It's basically a free way to import money into the country. And expats generally don't use a lot of the public services either. So it's a lot of money coming in, fueling the economy, which creates jobs and raises the quality of life of general Ecuadorians, especially working Ecuadorians. So they want more of us here spending money, but you can't live here on $400 a month. It's not realistic. Even we did a cost of living video on what life would look like for $500 a month. And we said, you can technically do it, but it's not going to be very comfortable and it's not really feasible. We always say that you need at least a minimum of $800 for a single and $1,200 for a couple. They are kind of putting that at the higher end of that with this $1,275 for
Right.
an individual plus $250 for the dependent. So that puts it at like $1,550, $1,525.
I wonder if this has something to do. Didn't International Living or AARP or somebody come out with a statement saying that the average pension or Social Security payout is $1,500 a month?
Yes, that's true. So that they're kind of looking at getting closer to the average Social Security check.
Yeah.
And I think that it kind of makes sense from an Ecuador perspective because they want people who are going to come here and spend money and help fuel the economy. That's their main goal for having us here. Otherwise, they would make it really hard for us to move here. This is a common trend throughout the world. A lot of the countries are revamping their visa guidelines and raising the minimums for everything from investors to monthly income, pension, or visas. And a lot of the amounts are increasing. Like we've seen in Mexico recently, they're still almost double, I think, for what we have here in Ecuador.
Yeah, it's a tough situation though, and we're waiting to get some more information on the exact nature of all of the visa laws because there's a lot of confusion right now.
There is. All right, next question. What time frame would you recommend in beginning to start the pensioner visa process with a visa agent like Gringo Visas?
Well, probably as soon as you know your time frame to move, assuming you're still in the U.S. or your home country. We always tell people to give yourself a good 3 to 6 months to get your visa. It actually took us longer because we went the professional route, but it's
professional visa, which
route,
took longer at the time.
Yeah, but it's important to note that you want to give yourself extra time to get all the documents that you need while you're still in the United States, and that you have time to get those things get the apostle. Although a visa agent will do that for you. We had all of that stuff done for us.
Yeah, we recommend getting in touch with a visa agent as soon as you know you want to move to Ecuador, and they will kind of give you a timeline and a calendar of when you need to have things done. It is a lot easier to get all of those documents while you're still at home in the U.S. We had to make several trips to my university to get my degrees and other paperwork. A lot of people have to go in and to the Social Security Administration office and wait in line to get the stuff that they need. So it's best to get that started while you're still at home.
Keep in mind, however, that you will have to provide an FBI and state background check, and those expire after 6 months. So there is a little bit of
so you want to
time sensitivity.
Yeah, you want to wait on those because some of the things don't expire, like your marriage license, my university degree. Once you have those registered, they never expire, but some things do, like the background checks and the income statements. They want the last 12 months. They want the last 12 months, not 12 months from a year ago.
Exactly.
So those things are time sensitive. But a visa agent will help you work through all of that. And again, we'll put a link below for introduction to Gringo Visas. All right, then we have several questions about estate sales to wrap this Q&A video up. And we did have an estate sale, so we have some firsthand experience with this, but it will vary by the estate sale company. So it's really best to contact them directly and ask these questions of them. But we'll tell you what our experiences was.
Well, sorry to interrupt you, but wasn't ours like 6 years ago?
Yeah, ours was 5 or 6 years ago. So it was a long time ago too.
Okay,
first question is, should the estate sale come first and afterwards sell the home?
JP, I'm going to let you answer all of this stuff.
Okay, so we put our home up for sale and then scheduled the estate sale, and then it took 6 weeks, I think, to have the estate sale. The house still had not sold. We went ahead and had the estate sale, and then we lived in an empty house for 3 months, sleeping on an air mattress. It was not something I would recommend, but it's just the way it worked out. It took a lot longer to sell the house than we expected.
Yeah.
But we also got more for it than, I listed it higher because it was worth it. I had renovated it and it was beautiful and we needed the money.
But I guess it's a personal preference. It's so tricky because your house could sell like that, or it could take a long time.
Yeah.
But just know you might be furnitureless for a while.
Yes. And also by having the estate sale while it's for sale, the house is for sale, it's like a great way to market it because a lot of the people that are looking for, to buy things at the estate sale might also be looking for a house to buy, or they might know friends or family that are looking for a house to buy in the area. So, it's a good way to market the house. All right. When the sale is over, does the estate sale company remove the sold items, or do the buyers of the item do that?
Nope. They take all of that stuff.
The buyers take it when they buy it. So like small stuff, they just walk out with it. They just take it, they pay for it at the front by the front door, and they leave with it, just like any store. Bigger items, sometimes they'll go and get a truck and come back, like for a sofa or something. Generally, it's the same day. That sometimes, I think a couple of our bigger items, they came on the last day and got them once the house was kind of cleared out. Yeah. But the buyer is responsible for removing everything.
Correct.
How long after the sale are the sold items removed? Oh, I think we answered that one. Immediately or before the sale ends. What happens to unsold items? Do we get rid of them or the estate sale company? You're responsible. Okay, there's two options. You can get rid of them yourself, or you can pay the estate sale company a small fee to remove everything that's left. They'll just deduct that from the proceeds of the sale. I think we didn't have that much, and we just donated it to Goodwill and then took the tax write-off. So
we didn't have much left.
No, unfortunately,
as a matter
they
of
bought
fact,
our bed.
JP went crazy and sold stuff that we ended up having to replace.
Yes, Amelia will never let me live that down. I'm like, just sell it. I got the bug. I got the fever. I'm like, it's going for sale. And Amelia's like, but we might, nope, for sale. Get rid of it.
Yeah, so make sure you take a deep breath before you sell everything, JP.
Okay, how long does the estate sale last? 1 weekend, a few days? Generally, it's at least 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Sometimes if you have a lot of stuff, they'll throw in a Thursday. You need to budget several days before that for the estate sale reps to come in and they organize your house like it's a whole house garage sale. They bring in tables, they set everything out, they price everything.
It's a process.
It's a whole process. We had 3 people come in for like 3 or 4 days before the estate sale. And then during the estate sale, you can't stay there. You'll have to leave the house and go stay somewhere else. They don't want you staying there at night because they have everything like set up.
Yeah, so you can't mess anything up.
And if you have a nice bed, it will sell immediately because their mattresses are expensive and estate sales. If you have a nice mattress, it'll sell quickly. And a couple other pieces of advice for estate sales. You might be tempted to sell your high ticket items separately. Don't do that, because if you do that, the estate sale company may come in and say, you don't have enough value here for us to do an estate sale. You got rid of everything of value. They're going to say, where's your big screen TV? And where's your jewelry? And where's your other electronics or your dive gear, your golf clubs? And if you say, well, I sold all those already, they're going to say, okay, well, we'll see you later. Right. They just won't take on the project if you get rid of everything of value, because they want to have things of value to sell. They can also sell cars, and it's a different percentage for that than it is for the rest of it. They take a percentage of the sale, and it's pretty high. It's like 30%.
But they do a lot of work.
They do a lot of work. Plus, they advertise it. They have a list of their loyal. Usually, these companies have thousands of people on their mailing list that follow them and will go to all of their estate sales. So they market it for you. They get people in the door, and they handle all of the money collection, the setup, the advertisement. It's just worth it to get it all done and not try to sell a whole house worth of stuff on Craigslist. And I think the cars they do for 10%. I think it's a much smaller percentage.
I guess it's going to depend on what state you're in and what company you go with and all that good stuff.
All right. Are we forgetting anything else?
Well, you had some other advice. My advice is to be very careful about your stuff, because we had stuff locked up and people just somehow managed to finagle their way into some places that we had locked. So be really careful with your valuables. We didn't have anything stolen, but still, it was a weird feeling.
I know people bought stuff that we had tied drawers shut in the kitchen with some kitchen stuff that we didn't want to sell, and they just cut the ties and took stuff out.
Well, and remember you were going to share the thing about your dive.
Oh yeah, my dive. So I had a bunch of dive gear, and I had a really expensive regulator because I was planning on diving in Antarctica. So it was like a cold water regulator, it was a fancy thing. I spent way too much money on it because then I did my back and couldn't dive. But anyway, it had a wireless transmitter on it for my dive computer, and I told them that these two go together, but I didn't tie them together. I should have zip tied them together, because they sold the regulator separately with the dive computer transmitter on it. Well, then the dive computer is worthless without the transmitter. And so I had to then the dive computer didn't sell, which was one of the highest ticket items that we had. And I had to order the transmitter in order to then sell it on Craigslist, and I didn't even get that much for it. It was very disappointing.
Yeah.
But my recommendation is if you have things that go together, zip tie them together, and so that they know that they are together.
Right. You don't want people creating their own packages.
Yes, I know. You can't trust anybody either. They'll use your bathrooms. It's disgusting.
Even though they're not, people are weird.
It's a weird experience. But we would do it. If we had to do it again, we would do it again. It was some weird stuff.
But the weird stuff was minor.
Minor compared to the convenience of having all of this handled for us in the span of a week.
Yeah, it was still worth us sleeping on the air mattress for 3 months.
Yeah, we should have just bought another mattress in retrospect.
I know. I had actually completely forgotten about that until we got this question. The memories.
Yeah. All right, guys. Hopefully that covers it. I think you may have asked this in YouTube, and I said ask your estate sale company, because obviously this is way too much to type up in a YouTube comment. This is like, I think we might have a whole blog post on this. I can't remember, but there's so much that goes into the estate sale, and you definitely want to plan ahead. It takes at least 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks from like the contact to the estate sale. And it may take even longer if you have a big estate.
Right.
So plan accordingly.
Yes. And good luck.
And buena suerte. All right. I think that's all we have for this video. We will see you all in our next one. Ciao.